6 months ago she was going down to the day room watching Murder, She Wrote, playing the bingo. She was in a nursing home. And then she scalded herself. And she couldn't use her walker anymore. She took to the bed. And now we have to feed her and she doesn't get out. And I went, you know, because my dad had dementia, so I was sort of thinking, oh, Cora. I don't think I can help you, Cora. I'd love to help you, but where do I even begin? I mean, she didn't have a stroke, there was nothing. It was just nothing. It just seemed to be a progression, unfortunately, of the dementia. So anyway, she goes, I said, would you not just see her? And I went, oh, okay, I'll see. So I said, listen, well, there's an issue of consent here, because this lady has dementia. She goes, I can sort all that out. Consent, I can talk to the nursing staff, I can talk to the GP. And I went, okay. I said, but if your man at any stage refuses or gives me an indication that she is not happy with the treatment or that she's sober, I've hurt her, I gotta pull the plug. And if I don't see any improvement, look, it's not fair to be annoying your mother or wasting your money. And she goes, yeah. I mean, you could have said anything, she was gonna say yeah. So I rock up to the nursing home and I'm thinking, and go down to the room, and there she is, lovely, lovely, smiley lady. She's sitting in the bed, and she's looking at me. And I go, and then what I do then is, rather than me standing over looking at her, I grab a chair and I sit down, so I'm at eye level with her. And I say, Mrs. Hickey, your daughter Cora told me you have a problem with your arm, and I'm here, maybe I can help you. What do you think? And she's just smiling, thinking this nutter is here. So I was there, and I was thinking, I said, you wouldn't believe it, Mrs. Hickey. I grew up across the road from Mrs. Hickey. What are the chances of that? Now in County Kildare, Mrs. Hickey is probably the most common name, so it's a huge chance. And she actually starts chuckling. And in hindsight, what I actually did was I reduced CCK. So people with dementia are frightened, and they're scared, and they're anxious. And as Thomas Lundenberg, he'd be a Swedish big guy, neurophysiology. Him and me went drinking in Barcelona in 2014. I can't remember much, but he said, Duncan, if you don't reduce CCK, it isn't going to work. And he's right. So what I effectively had done is I had knocked off the anxiety, I had knocked off all that worry, because now she was just looking at this guy who rambles on about nothing. So I said, look, I'll have a look and we see. So I start poking around and I'm completely thinking, where am I going to go? This isn't going to work. And I figured it's tight here on the right side, band there, upper trapezius, of course. So I needle here and I think she's going to yelp, which is my way out, actually, to be honest about it. I was thinking, she's going to yelp, and I'm going to say to Cora, we can't do this. But she didn't yelp at all. So then gallbladder 21, which of course, I know this is a hot potato, thoracic needling. I do follow you here in the UK. You're blessed, by the way, to have the AACP and the personification of coolness there, Mr. John Hobbs. So basically, you know, there's tangentially to the rib cage, lifting up the muscle, making sure I know where that needle is at all times. Then I go, she still hasn't yelped. Large intestine 11. Large intestine 4, might as well just go for broke here. And PC6, shallow angle so I don't hit the median nerve. I was desperate. I was thinking, what can I do here? So 10 minutes she lasts, because then her left hand starts to move over. And I'm thinking, I took that as a sign she was in discomfort. I take the needles out. And I said, let me know how it goes, Cora. So a week later I show up. And Cora said, oh, she's a lot better. Now, I didn't see any difference. Her mother was still sitting there, or sitting up in the bed, and how was there a difference? I mean, she was still in bed and she still hadn't walked. So I figured Cora was saying this so that I wouldn't give up too quickly. So then I did the exact same thing, and I let them in. It was 17 minutes this time. And then her hand moves over, and I figured that's a clue. So I took him out. So it was 17 days before I went back again. And this time, I went down to the room, but Mrs. Hickey wasn't there. And I'm thinking to myself, Mrs. Hickey's passed. Cora was too busy, didn't tell me. And I actually was sad, but then one of the staff said, Mrs. Hickey was down in the day room watching Murder, She Wrote. And the thing is, from that Monday, all of a sudden, Mrs. Hickey had got out of bed, dressed herself, and walked to the day room independently. And she stayed that way for 7 more years, till she passed. The day she passed, Cora, her daughter, sends me a message. She says, Duncan, I've got my godfather, he's like 200 years old, and he's like, no, you're the head. But she says, Mammy passed this morning, and the first person I thought of was you. Thank you so much. So, basically, when we get to our end of our lives, we won't measure our lives by the number of breaths we have taken, but the moments that took our breath away. Acupuncture is a skill that you all worked hard to do, you all studied and you trained. But it's also a gift. The purpose of life is to find your gift. The meaning of life is to give that gift away. You are all impact players, game changers, difference makers. Thank you, all of you, for being you. Have an absolutely wonderful conference. Thank you so much.